Well, good afternoon and welcome to the almost daily vlog here at Life in the Higham house. It is the afternoon, it is Monday afternoon, and I am on my way to pick up Brea from school. Asher has to work, and so I'm just bringing home Brea. And it got me thinking, we haven't done that very much this year. Ever since Asher got his license, he has pretty much driven himself and Brea to school on a regular basis. Monday through Friday, he's taken her to school. And so it's gotten me thinking, gosh, we got so used to driving them back and forth to school. For a while, I was driving them into school, and then I was going to work, and then I would pick them up from school, and then we would head home. On days that we had youth group and I stayed at the church, Amy would pick up. It just depended on what was going on. But for a number of years, we did the whole drive to school and then pick up after school. And it's funny because at the time, you really don't think about that time, what you're doing in that time. Generally, it was just, small talk. Occasionally, we had conversations. But now that Asher has been driving themselves back and forth to school, and we only picking up or driving in on the very rare occasion that we need a car or that Asher's working like today and I got to go pick up, we haven't done it very much. And as I'm driving down to pick her up, I'm thinking, man, it's really kind of weird and different that we're not having this time. I mean, because every Monday through Friday when we drove them to school, we would have approximately 15-20 minutes to school and then 15-20 minutes from school every single day. So approximately 30 to 40 minutes we would have just to spend time with them in the car. And this past year, we haven't had that. And it's kind of caused me to be thinking about how we use our time with our kids in the car. Now, I'll be straight up. Like, there are definitely times we drive with the kids in the car and the kids are, have their AirPods in and they're listening to their music, or they're playing a video game or watching something on social media. Like, we've got teenagers, that happens. But there are other times that we have conversation. And sometimes the conversation is more small talk type stuff, how are things going? Did you see such and such? What'd you think of this and that? But then there are other times we've had really solid, good conversation. Like something happens and like we get them to download and share their thoughts about it. Or maybe there's something happening in our family and we just use that time to kind of decompress and talk about it. And it's kind of reminded me of just how important it is to make use of that time. Now, we've had the opportunity to drive our kids to school for a fair amount of time. I mean, there was a season we walked our kids to school. There was only a little window of time where they actually rode a bus. A lot of times we drove them. And so we had that time on a regular basis, or almost a regular basis, to spend with them. And I can think back to all those sweet times that we had those conversations. But now Asher's driving, and so he provides transportation most days. Brea is 15. She will be able to get her license next year, which means if the car is available, she'll probably drive herself to school starting her junior year, which is not far away. And so with that said, our window of time where we can spend with them and have conversation and enjoy time with them in the car is quickly closing really, really fast. And it's kind of making me think how to use the time that we do have with them to have those type of conversations. Now, we still talk. We are a family that loves to sit down at dinner and we have conversation around the dinner table. We talk about silly things. We talk about big things. We talk about important things. We laugh. We have a great. We have conversations, and I would say we're kind of blessed in that I think Amy and I have worked hard to create an environment where our kids are free to talk, and I think they do a good job with that. Like even now, with Logan and Nate being on their own, Aiden's working to become independent, be on his own. Like, I'm still amazed at how many times the kids will call home just to check in and see how things are going. And they're really good about it. I mean, they call almost every day or every other day, and then generally we talk to one, if not both of them, on the weekend at some point. And so we do have a fair amount of time that we chat with our kids, and it's just amazing to me that they do that, and that they have that relationship with Amy, and they're able to call. And so we've done a good job. I think we've done a good job of kind of creating a space and an environment where our kids are free to talk. But that brings me to the question of, what does that look like for everyone else? Like, have you built, or I don't know how to say it without being offensive, like, how have you cultivated communication with your kids? That's probably the best question. How have you cultivated communication with your kids? Have you created an atmosphere where they feel safe and free to come and talk with you? And if so, how did you do that? And what does it look like? Is it around the dinner table? Is it in the car? Do you take turns with them going out for coffee and sit and talk about stuff? Is it something that you do? You set aside time in your day where you can sit down, like maybe the end of the day before they go to bed, and you just kind of download the day with them. How does it look for you to have that sweet time with your kids? And then what have you done to kind of make that a reality, a practical thing that you do on a daily basis? What does that look like? How did you do all of that? Because I'm really curious to see how families, how parents have worked to develop that culture of communication. Because I love when our kids talk with us. I love that we can have really solid conversations, but we can also get really silly and goofy and have great conversation. And we've met some other families that are in the same boat, who their dinner table is just as crazy and unedited, unscripted as ours. And I love that. Like, I love that our kids can laugh and talk about things, and they feel like it's okay to talk about things, especially things that are maybe not always what you would think to be conversation around the dinner table. But we've cultivated that in our kids, that we want them to talk. We would rather have them come and talk about some of those things, as inappropriate as they may be, or as kind of out there as they might. We'd rather have them come and talk to us instead of going somewhere else and talking with friends or teachers or whoever. At least we can steer and guide them in a way that is appropriate and God-honoring, and we know how they're being shaped. So that's what I want to hear from you. What have you done to cultivate communication with your kids? What have you done to give them that idea that it's safe and they're okay to communicate with you? So leave those in the description or in the comments below, and anxious to hear your thoughts on all of that. And I might do a little blog that goes along with this, so check the description in case there might be a link or something down there for you. All right, that's it for me for right now. Thanks for checking in, thanks for watching, and make sure you're subscribed and following along, because we got so much more of the year to happen and so many more things to talk about and share with you guys. So, yeah, we'll see you next time right here, the Almost Daily Vlog, Life in the Higham House. Later.